So I wasn't expecting to do this at this point in the build because there's a lot of other things I should be doing, but I have a beautiful set of brand new max speeding rod coilovers for this car. And max speeding rods has been pretty damn good to me. I had them on the E46, and the hell that those coilovers went through over the years is absolutely amazing. I have taken it off the track several times. I have smoked it through ditches, down dirt roads. We did crash it at the track, put it straight into the wall, and managed to actually bend one of the coilovers back and get back out on the track. We broke part of the knuckle and hammered it out and just used the jack to push the knuckle back in. I don't know how much footage of all of that stuff from way back I had. If you're looking for coilovers, there will be a link to get 10% off down below. I'll put it in the video, and just use the code salvaged and you'll get 10% off your order on anything that's on their site. They have turbos and everything as well. I'm gonna time lapse this, see what I can do about these back brakes. The other side's obviously been off when the studs came out of it, so it should go apart fine. But I'm gonna take this all apart, grease everything, service it. The rotors seem to still be fine back here. It's just the fronts that are all warped to shit. So it's good enough to at least put it back in for now. There, it's all back together. My dad gave me a can of paint that he was using when he color matched everything originally, so I just shot some of the stuff with a little bit more paint, just to protect it a little longer until I actually get around to stripping this car right down and hopefully powder coating a lot of this stuff. But yeah, brakes are back together on this side. I'm not going to record the other side because it's the exact same thing. So I got the brakes done on both sides, and this is the point in the video where probably at the start of the video I was explaining that I got these beautiful coilovers. So I'm going to put the rears on the car now, because it is literally just those two bolts up there and one bolt in the control arm, which everything should come out because it's hasn't been in there super long. Dad has Eibach lowering springs, but they're on stock style struts, and I think at least the fronts are from that 95 Civic that we parted out. So even though these shocks are still good, as far as I can tell, they're still good, but they're also from like 1993. So it's time for a whole refresher on it, and Max Speeding Rods being so kind to actually send me an upgrade for this car. It's absolutely amazing. I have no reason not to use them, so instead of fixing a lot of this rust right now, we're just gonna add coilovers to it. That's the Honda Civic way, isn't it? Piece of steel that goes between the bushings. I can push the bushing in and out on both sides, but it just spins inside that collar. I'll probably cut this part of it off, so in that way I can get the whole strut out of here and leave that bolt. It's gonna press the bushing out, but I'll be able to push this side of the bushing out this way and get the bolt out the other side, and then hopefully after that I can heat up the collar with something and try to get the collar broken away from the bolt. Bushings are off. You can see that the sleeve in the middle is completely rusted to the bolt. This, like I said, happens all the time on Hondas. I've had, even the EP3, I had to cut the ones on the back from the stock ones, but still crappy arms and crappy bushings. And I just don't like those stupid aluminum arms to begin with. But I'm gonna try to get the other one out. It'd be nice if the other one just comes out, but it'll probably be the same thing. And then we'll have to heat the shit out of this. But now that we have the bushings off it, we can heat it without obviously melting the bushings. And usually vice grips and just hammering the shit out of it. But since we have this lip here, I might be able to just hammer the nut out and use this lip to my advantage. Jacked it up to compress it and zip tied it. I also undid that upper control arm. I didn't undo it in the sake of trying to gain more. I did it because those bolts tend to break inside the body, and I wanted to make sure they actually came out. I have actually bought cars where those are welded right to the body. I have a photo of it somewhere. I don't know if I can add it in the video or not, but it's absolutely ridiculous. When those break, you have to cut the inside of the body to get the bolts out. So I wanted to see if they came loose, and I think Dad might have anti-seized them. It looked like there's a bit of anti-seize on them when he did this control arm swap. So it came out, and I just left them out because there's more room. But anyways, what I did was I jacked this up to compress the strut. Now when I lower it, hopefully that spring stays zip tied together and I can just slide it out. Like I said, I didn't want to undo this control arm bolt down here. I don't know if you could see it in the video, but there's another one in there and it's just as rusty. And with how much issues I had on the other side, I don't want to pull apart more bushings right now because I don't have heat or the means to deal with it properly. So even though this isn't right, it's going to work. I'll get it out, and the coilover is going to be easier to install because it's smaller one way or another. So this is how I'm doing it. The spring's super loose, so you can compress the shock more. But yeah, that's a cheater way of doing it. Again, I've got enough subscribers and people that comment that I'm sure someone will have an issue with the way I'm doing everything. But that's fine. Way easier to install. Hardest part again was just getting them over that shitty bushing. Well, this is where I'm at right now. I'm gonna torch it as best I can with my crappy little torch. It's so bright where you can't even see the flame going out of it. I don't care what anyone says, success is success. What I'm gonna do right now is put the wheels back on it and just see where they're set right now. See if they're super low or super high or in a good spot. And then I'm gonna test fit Dad's old wheels that have 195 60s on it, which is a pretty tall tire. If it clears the fenders and all that stuff, I'll run it for now until I get a chance to get new tires. It's gonna be really close. Like I said though, I want to run like almost 2 size smaller tires on these. They're pretty high, and a little bit skinnier would probably be better too because of the offset of the rims. But they look great on this car. Like, it's got that era correct look to it. And then Dad's also got actual Honda center caps that fit in these rims perfectly. So I would like to use them, but we'll see when it's down on the ground. It's not the worst height in the world if the tire was smaller. It's clears pretty much everything. I don't know if I'll keep it at this height, but I'll get it back down on the ground for right now. These are shit tires that literally are only going to be driven on for maybe 15 kilometers max to get it to the shop to do the exhaust work and a few other things. I have found 2 tires the size I want to run. I need to find 2 more that match, but yeah, these are not these tires are not going on the highway or nothing crazy like that, that's for sure. I have to pull that strut brace back off because, again, I didn't expect to be putting coilovers on this car. And then I do have the correct bracket, so we can fix this caliper finally. Well, another bracket, I should say. It doesn't have a half strip bolt in the bottom of it. And then I have rotors for it as well, so I'm going to do the same thing. There's plenty of pad there, so we'll clean up the pad, put a set of rotors on it for now. There's one coilover installed. I put the bracket down really low just so it was just out of the way of even being close to the frame rail or anything. But it's just a little nut and bolt, and you put the bracket wherever you want to hold the brake lines. And then we also replaced this bad caliper bracket here. I had another one at my dad's, so we just I cleaned up the threads and used that bracket on this caliper. Caliper's fine, so just that bracket that in the earlier episode, when I pulled it off, a lot of the threads came out of the bracket and it really didn't tighten back up, so I feel better having that bracket on there and everything tight. Anti-seized everything per usual because, again, a lot of this stuff will come back apart at some point in its life. Too bad. It is a little low in the front, but it doesn't seem to really rub moving around the yard. I haven't obviously road tested it yet, and the struts are set to the softest they can be, and it also hasn't settled yet. So when it settles, it might even be a little bit lower, which is kind of an issue right now with that tire size. But when I run the tire size I want to run, I think this setup will work perfectly fine for it. And I can turn the wheels all the way and they don't hit the fenders, but that's not to say going a certain speed around corners it wouldn't. That tire's also half flat, so I need to put air in it. But for all the years these have been sitting, they're holding air pretty damn good. It's not as low as the EP3 is, but that's okay, because again, smaller tire size, it'll be lower. And I'm not really going for any particular stance or the fact of trying to slam it or anything. I just figured with coilovers, it's pretty much out of the box here. Probably gonna move that back up just a little bit. But I do want to change the tire size, so that way I can set the car kind of accordingly to what tire size I end up running, which I really hope will be 195/50s. And I thought I had some around here, but I only have 195/55s around here, so we'll see what happens. The next thing on the list is to get some exhaust on it.
Fuck, made short work of that.
I want to give an unbelievably huge shout out to Dan for lending me space in his shop and helping me weld this cobbled up exhaust together. Use his tools and everything to clean up the manifold and change the gaskets and the bolts. It was just so much easier doing all that stuff under the car standing than laying on my back in the backyard doing all that. Absolutely massive shout out as well to Max Speeding Rods for sending me these coilovers. This car rides like it's on rails. I'm gonna put all the footage in here of the little road test I did and shakedown of it all. I'm probably gonna lift the front up just a little bit more because it does sometimes rub on the fenders and I want to save what's left of the fenders. But other than that, I have no complaints at all. These coilovers are unbelievably good for this old piece of crap. Like, it brings new life to the suspension completely. I don't even know what to say about all the support that I've had with this car in the last few weeks of doing all this. I'm planning to try to make some kind of merchandise to some point of this car, like at least a shirt or something out of it, because I have no money right now to pay for a lot of these things, and I've been pulling a lot of favors to get some stuff done. So if you want to support me, there is a thanks button that you can support me, and anything that comes out of it goes right into this car. But I'm not here to promote my own crap. I'm basically doing this for myself, and I'm just super amazed that anybody wants to watch me do this crap, especially when it's like run down backyard stuff. But it is, I do admit, it is kind of awesome that this car is living on and has 540,000 on it, and it's gonna at least go another 540,000 if it's up to me. But yeah, that's I don't know how screwed up or jumping around this whole video is going to be. A huge shout out to Max Speeding Rods, and a huge shout out to Dan for helping me in this shop. Huge shout out to Jake even for just generally filming a little bit of it and helping me just put the pipes up and everything. Like everybody that's been involved with it, it's been amazing. Like to do all this in the last like 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I don't even know how long it's been, but I'm glad it's done before winter. There's going to be a little bit more. I want to get that windshield done and some sandblasting done before winter, but either way, this car is kind of back to where it was, albeit there's a little bit of rust on it compared to before it sat for 3 years, but it's basically back to how it was now, and I'm super thankful for everybody involved, everybody that watches, everybody that comments, everybody that subscribes. I thank everybody for it, and there's going to be nothing but more, so that's all for now, I guess.